think it helps to build that confidence, and kind of related to the adaptability and flexibility too, knowing that, okay, this is an uncertain situation, but I'm able to be flexible and I'm able to adapt to new situations.
This is Worldschooling Q&A. I'm Astrid, creator of The Wandering Daughter. As a traveling family, we've spent 4 years traveling full-time to over 18 countries and 6 continents. Wherever we go, we try to learn as much as we can about the countries and cultures we visit. While we didn't coin the term, we like to call this worldschooling, using the world as our classroom. Each week, my husband Clint and I will answer one question about worldschooling and share our experiences of traveling the world with our kids. Ready to get started? Great! Let's dive in.
So today's question is, what are the key skills my child will develop through worldschooling?
Wow. It's a loaded question. Astrid, what
Everything.
would... Yeah, exactly. What would be maybe the first couple?
Well, some of the basic stuff or obvious things are just learning about different cultures. So understanding history, or not even history, but just being able to see what things are like in other places in the world besides your own. And then also geography, right? We're going to another country. Where is it on the map? Let's point to it. And that's a good one.
Yeah.
What would you add to that?
Yeah, just to expand on that, I think geography in the aspect of just knowing where someplace is.
Yeah.
There's a funny joke on the movie Crazy Rich Asians where she doesn't know where Singapore is. And, that kind of stuff is cool. You actually know. We would travel with a map, a big world map, and we'd make sure that we kind of pointed out where we were in the map, or where we were going, or where we've been.
Yeah.
So that's a fun way. I think also culturally, just seeing how other people live. I mean, I think going to grocery stores, seeing what's on the store shelves, that kind of stuff. Those are all key skills and things that we really valued as a family. Astrid, what would you say beyond kind of those cultural or those just family value skills? Are there curriculum skills that you can learn, or are there other things that might adapt to kind of what I think non-world schooling families right now would associate as skills?
Yeah. So one is language learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're, especially if you're going to another country that doesn't speak the language that you speak, as a family, that's a good skill to gain, is learning a few phrases from that country or in that language, just to be respectful and stuff. I think another one would be kind of going with, well, I guess math, right? If you're going to a foreign country, you're going to be using a foreign currency, or a different currency than your own, and sort of making that exchange of well, in the US, it's $5. What does that make it in the other country, or vice versa? It's 10 euros. How do we figure out how much that costs for us in US dollars? Trying to think of other stuff physical fitness, right?
Yeah.
You're walking a lot, you're doing, or you're doing activities. We like to do bike riding when we're in other countries. So that's a good one. A good skill that they'll learn. In fact, our kids learned how to swim, and I think solidified their bike riding skills while we were traveling.
Yeah, the swimming was a huge one.
Yeah.
They were just kind of beginning swimming when we started traveling, and they really solidified it and became strong swimmers, actually.
Yeah.
While we were traveling. I think for me, there's also a couple that are really important. Resilience or adaptability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That one's more subtle, and you don't even, I mean, honestly, you almost don't even have to actively or intentionally, put that at the front of your brain, because just the adaptability of going to different places and learning the context and adjusting, and
Right.
the resilience that builds and fosters. And we see that reflected now that we're not traveling as much right now,
Yeah.
because our kids are older in school. uh, we see that resilience echoed throughout their lives now, whether it's meeting new people or when activities come up or events come up or things like that. They adjust very, very quickly,
For
or
sure.
they know themselves deeply to also know where to set boundaries. And I think that's the other one that I was going to say is like reflection,
Mhm.
like self-reflection, the ability to set boundaries,
Yeah.
the ability to say yes or no, to advocate for self-care or downtime. That became really critical, I think, while we were traveling too, is knowing when you've kind of peaked and you're tired and you just need a break, and being able to communicate that effectively to the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mentioned a lot of this. I have an article on my website actually covering like the educational benefits of travel, and I mentioned a lot of that in there. And something that I'd want to add is like traveling. I think one of the big skills that it gives kids and grown-ups is like critical thinking skills,
Hmm.
kind of related to to reflection,
Yeah.
but thinking about like where you are and your role in the world, like where you are in the world and what role you play and what impact that you make as a citizen of the world. Uh, if you are actively engaged in like your world schooling experience and taking your travels as more than just like entertainment or like a break from reality, like if you're looking at the experience or like taking in the experiences that you're having and thinking about like how does that compare to things that I've experienced in the past, or how does the way that this culture operate compare to my home culture.
Hmm.
I think those are things, that's a big skill that I think you can gain from world schooling, and that you just can teach your kids that will help them to be like more, I don't know, engaged adults.
I think to extend off of that too, one thing I would say is like empathy and compassion. I
Yep.
mean, so engagement with the world and critical thinking, seeing how other people live, also builds incredible depth and empathy, I think,
Right.
and compassion, and seeing, um, uh, not only just like seeing how other people live, but actually like experiencing themselves or understanding that cultures can be vastly different and can be very similar in a lot of ways too.
Hmm.
One thing we like to do a lot is go to parks, for example,
Yeah.
or grocery stores. And those kinds of things both allow the kids and us to see how parenting is the same across cultures, and it's also vastly different in some cases. So
Yeah.
I think those are great. What else? Is there anything else?
Uh, you might have mentioned this, but earlier, but I think confidence is another
Oh
big
yeah.
thing.
Mm.
Um, travel in general forces us sometimes to step outside of our comfort zones, and I think that the the act of like trying something that you've never done before, or you're not sure what the outcome will be, and then it becomes this like positive outcome, I think it helps to build that confidence, and kind of related to the adaptability and flexibility too, knowing that okay, this is an uncertain situation, but I'm able to be flexible and I'm able to adapt to new situations. I think that helps to build confidence in your kids, that they can respond to things in a, I don't know, positive way, or
Yeah, there's a couple of things like with the confidence that we've noticed. One, just landing in a new place,
hmm
and not it can be very overwhelming when you first land in a
yeah.
new place. But the confidence of like, we've done this before. We know how to get transportation. We know how to get to our place. We know we're going to settle down and find a grocery store and just kind of settle in for a minute. That confidence we've seen that echoed through our kids as well.
Even when we come, now that we're back in the States, for a longer period of time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is language. I mean, when we first started traveling, even though we had the kids kind of learning some Spanish, for example, neither one of them really wanted to try it out at a restaurant, not even to say simple things like thank you. But now they go into a restaurant, and it doesn't even matter if it's like a Spanish speaking restaurant, like if we're in Mexico or something. We were in Japan recently, and both of them learned enough phrases to say, things like thank you, or this was delicious, or I mean, there was there's just a sense of pride in learning, being able to learn a few phrases and say it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. I can also, that same trip, we were also in Indonesia, and our daughter had been like practicing Indonesian a lot. And I do remember a moment when she came to me and she's like, I was at the store and they spoke to me like I was Indonesian and I could understand what they were saying. Like, she was very excited. Yeah. You could tell, like, that's the type of stuff that I love seeing from our travels, is like this, like, yeah, I did this thing, and I'm like, yeah, the confidence.
Yeah. I mean, also, like, you guys taking dance classes while we were traveling, and just the confidence to walk into, I mean, class like that can be intimidating even in your home, right?
Yeah.
And the ability to walk into, say, a dance class in, say, Tokyo, for example, and be confident in that, I think says a lot. So is there anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Worldschooling Q&A with Astrid and Clint. Be sure to check out the show notes for any links we mentioned in the episode, and visit my website, thewanderingdaughter.com, to dive deeper into worldschooling and family travel.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting The Wandering Daughter on Patreon. It really helps us out and keeps the show going. You'll also get exclusive perks like episode transcripts, additional resources, access to office hours with us, and more. You can find us on Spotify or the podcast app of your choice. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can tap the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps new people find our show.
If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. You can follow me on Instagram @WanderDaughter, or follow The Wandering Daughter on Facebook. Links to these are also in the show notes. If you have any worldschooling questions you'd like us to answer for future episodes, feel free to throw them in the comments or send us a message at thewanderingdaughter.com/podcast. Until next time, happy travels!
Bye!